The Mission Report is a presentation of HomeFront Cybercast Broadcasting, brought to you by HomeFront Cyber Support and Security. Tech support, security, and protection is their mission.
Welcome to a special presentation of the HomeFront Cybercast Broadcasting Mission Report. It is brought to you by HomeFront Cyber Support and Security. We've got one of their presentations that we'll be doing this show here. So definitely want to stick around for that. It's all about protecting children online with Operations Cyber Guardian. Coming up in the future, on future episodes of the HomeFront Cybercast Mission Report, we've got more cooking series videos lined up for you, and we've also got more seed starting stuff. It's getting closer to garden season, so we're probably going to be taking some videos of some outdoor stuff, checking out our garden, see how that's going, see what kind of work we've got planned. HomeFront Cybercast Radio is just about ready to launch. We've got a Mixcloud account, so check that out. Details are forthcoming on our Facebook page. I know we've also already got some people following us on Mixcloud getting ready to rock with us in 2022 as HomeFront Cybercast Radio gets ready to start cranking itself up here. So let's get into this next segment here. It's brought to you by HomeFront Cyber Support and Security. It's a subject that is serious, also very important to me as the owner of HomeFront Cyber Support and Security. Protecting children online should be the highest priority for all parents. The hidden dangers of the internet, they are real. Some parents may not know those hidden dangers that exist out there in cyberspace because it's sometimes hard to look at a computer device and think the virtual world could eventually meet the physical world, which can be an extremely dangerous situation for children. In fact, data suggests that 2021 was a record in the world for online child exploitation and abuse cases that occurred on the internet. According to an article published by The Guardian, internet grooming of children has surged during lockdowns, according to new research that found a threefold increase in online sexual abuse imagery featuring 7 to 10-year-olds. The Internet Watch Foundation reported its worst year on record for child sexual abuse online in 2021 as it confirmed 252,000 URLs containing images or videos of children being sexually abused compared with 153,000 in the previous year. The UK-based charity said it had seen a large increase in self-generated material where children are manipulated into recording their own abuse before it is shared online, with the fastest growing increase in such material occurring among 7 to 10-year-olds. Also, child safety experts say younger children have been relying more and more on the internet during the pandemic, and that spending longer online may be leaving them more vulnerable to communities of criminals who are looking to find and manipulate children into recording their own sexual abuse on camera. The footage is even shared among other criminals on the open internet, said the IWF report. This is a global problem, and because there are no borders on the internet. I mean, I've heard people say it. We just need to do something. And they're thinking physical borders. There are no borders on the internet, okay? It's open season. It's cyberspace. And it can happen anywhere, not just big cities, not just in other countries. I mean, it can be happening down the street from your home. And I've heard some ask us at HomeFront Cyber if it happens here. The answer to that is yes. There have been cases, and you can check them out. You can ask your local authorities. You can do searches on criminal databases for various cases similar to this, and you can find them. That information is publicly available on the internet. Within the last year alone, and this is just a sample of all the cases in the central Pennsylvania area, we've had 6 examples of online child exploitation and trafficking cases in the central Pennsylvania area. It's a problem that continues to get larger as time goes by, but what can we do about it when we're living in a world where the largest social media companies are either too slow to act when it's reported or some don't act at all to take down reported child exploitation? Well, we need to first understand how and where this starts in the online world, because parents need to take control of the situation. And then the parents can then take steps to protect their children in cyberspace after they do. understand that. So with that said, we would like to get right into the HomeFront cyber support and security presentation, which, by the way, we're not going to go into a fully detailed presentation here. We're going to leave out some of the parts that probably are not good to be put out there in a public forum. But HomeFront cyber support and security does do free presentations if you'd like to have one done for a parent group or an organization. We will have information on how you can get a hold of them at the end of the presentation. Before we begin, let's talk a little bit about HomeFront cyber support and security. They do tech support services. They go into operating system troubleshooting and recovery. They also can troubleshoot apps that are misbehaving on a PC with the operating system. They offer hardware and device support. If you've got a hard drive that's crashing, you believe, or you've already had a hard drive that's crashed, they can offer support for that too. They do networking support if you're having problems with your computers not communicating on your network, or other issues such as not able to print to the network printers. They can help you out with that. They offer security and privacy services, including anti-malware and best practices. They will do malware removal services. Small business services include all of the above, in addition to server, desktop, endpoint protection, and also best practices. HomeFront Cyber Support and Security will give all of their customers free consultations. All you got to do is just get a hold of them. And again, as I said, we've got information on how to contact them at the end of this presentation. Their malware scans are free, no charge unless they actually have to do a cleanup. They can also offer free cybersecurity audits, vulnerability assessments, network monitoring, traffic analysis, OSINT cyber investigation and reporting. You'll have to contact them for more information on that. Again, we got contact information coming up at the end of this presentation for anyone interested in contacting HomeFront Cyber for a presentation or more information on their services. So let's get right into this. Their Operations Cyber Guardian presentation, protecting children online. Again, we're going to go through most of these slides without a lot of detail, since they can be not the best thing to discuss in a public forum, but most will be self-explanatory. We're going to start with cyber threats to children in the online world. What are those threats? They can come in inappropriate content, illegal content. Privacy issues can occur with convincing children to give up their personal information, such as phone number, address, and other information that can lead a criminal to find them or meet up with them. There can be malware and security issues that can also lead to some of those other issues, with children clicking on links that they really shouldn't, and then malicious software can be downloaded to the machine. Sexting, there have been cases of those at the local school districts in the central Pennsylvania area, where children are passing back and forth various messages and maybe some illegal content. Children don't realize it, but if they're passing back and forth nude photographs of themselves and they're underage, that's illegal. Not only to look at it, but it's illegal to send it to anyone. It's distribution of child pornography. So they may not be aware of that. Parents should be discussing that with their children, making sure that they are fully aware of the laws and the consequences of what could happen to them if they get into something like that. Cyberbullying can take place on the internet. Cyberstalking can take place on the internet, where predators or other individuals are actually doing some bullying and stalking of individuals. Other threats include predators who will groom children for various dangerous scenarios that could pose serious psychological danger to children, especially the bullying, the stalking, and anything else that some of these criminals and some of this other criminal behavior might throw at some children. And eventually they could lead to physical dangers, especially things like cyberbullying. I'm sure you've heard the stories and read some of the articles out there that some of the cyberbullying has led to suicides. The predators who put children in grooming situations, that could lead to some sexual abuse situations and also potential trafficking issues. The sources of these threats can come from various places in cyberspace. The sources can come from internet pornography. Some of the internet pornography sites out there are famous for having malware in the background. And also they're just bad places to go in general. You never know exactly what you're going to get on the webpage. There have been several here recently that have been taken to court over having girls who are underage with child exploitation on those sites. So it's not just dangerous for the potential possibility of downloading malware. There's also the danger of actually seeing some child exploitation material. Predators. Predators could be hanging out on social media. They could be in messaging and chat rooms. They could also be hanging out on gaming sites. What children may not understand sometimes is the person who they are chatting with or that profile may not exactly be the individual that they claim to be. And there are also situations where some of these predators actually have younger people who actually do the grooming for them and do their dirty work for them. Peer-to-peer networks, although not as much of a problem, could be a problem if children actually know how to access them. The Tor browser, the dark web, something that parents need to be definitely aware of and try to keep their children away from that area of the internet. It's not a good. You never know what you're going to get on the dark web. There's no links as we know them, and you could be given a link, and you just never know what you're going to bring up on the dark web. Unsecured devices, one of the biggest problems. And geotags, which basically is when you take a picture, you want to make sure that you turn off the GPS coordinates and make sure that that's not in any pictures that your children are uploading to the internet, posting on Facebook and things like that, because criminals can use that to actually track down your children, and it could lead to just all-around bad situation. So how do we protect children online? It starts with some basic cybersecurity steps. It starts with antivirus and anti-malware, protecting the device from any kind of malicious software that would go out there and attempt to steal any personal information or install other malicious software onto the device. Browser security is a big thing, and that can be in the form of the antivirus software that you have. It can provide additional protection for the browser, or you can use add-ons and plugins to take care of those problems. Browser privacy is something else that antivirus or internet suite software can take care of, or some add-ons and other protection that HomeFront Cyber Support and Security can help you take care of too. The firewall, especially if you've got Windows 10, Windows 10 comes with a built-in firewall. Make sure that that's always on and active. That will provide your Windows machine with additional protection. Router security is important too. If you got a Wi-Fi router that you're using, make sure your passwords are very, very strong. And if it's got additional security or additional firewall settings on there, HomeFront Cyber Support and Security can help you understand that and make sure that they are active and engaged so that they're protecting your home network and your different devices that sign onto your network inside your home. Make sure your operating system is up to date. If you're running Windows 7, be advised that that is now out of support. Microsoft has no further security updates for that operating system. Definitely get it up to date, get it going to Windows 10. They've got Windows 11 out there, which is very, very new, but Windows 10 is still supported. Windows 8, I believe, is also out of support too, so you definitely want to at least get it up to Windows 10. But make sure that Windows is always up to date with the latest Windows updates and security updates that come down from the Windows Update services. Spam and suspicious email, this is one of the biggest problems. Email will come through. They will come through with links, and criminals are very, very smart. It looks like a legitimate email, and by the time you click on the link, could be potentially too late. The malware is already downloaded to your machine, or you'll be taken to a site where they can finch you to give away personal information. And for children, they just might say, okay, great, I get a free iPad here, and they want my home phone number and they want my address and all this other information so they can send it to me. And unknowingly, they're sending all that information out to a criminal. Backups are very important, especially if you've got a piece of malware that infects your machine, that steals information on the machine, or ransomware that would totally wipe out your documents folder and things like that. It's always a good idea to have periodic backups. That should always be a part of any cybersecurity best practices and plan. So how do we protect children online? Various ways that can be done. It does not have to be a complicated issue. Parents need to be aware of some of the most obvious ways protecting children online, which we've gone over here in the last couple of slides. But we can also set up special child accounts, and that Microsoft has a family account that people can sign into. Although that's not very detailed. HomeFront Cyber Support and Security actually advises you to get a separate software solution or service. Custodio is a very good one that can provide additional browser security and privacy. But definitely make sure that you've got the previous steps that we've talked about here taken care of, and then think about doing some special child accounts on the machine, setting up some restrictions so that you can't run certain programs and things like that. Make sure your browser security and your privacy is fairly good. Definitely turn off GPS coordinates and any geotags. Make sure those photographs do not have GPS coordinates or location information inside of them before you put them on the internet. We can set up parental controls to give the parent additional tool sets to lock down different areas of the internet. Monitoring is a big thing. Don't be afraid to monitor the devices. There are software solutions out there that will actually log activity so that you know exactly what's going on that device, what your children are doing, what your young children who they're chatting with online, and things like that. Online services are available too, such as Custodio and some different other services that they can talk to you about as well, so that you can make a good decision based on the needs of what you need to do to better protect your children. We must always mention that there's always a balance between privacy and protection. As the child gets older, especially when they get into the teenage years, they might take or see some of these different monitoring activities as a breach of their privacy. So, it might be a good idea to talk to them about, what the purpose of monitoring device security is all about, and make sure that the children also understand some of these dangers that exist on the internet, because sometimes they can't connect that virtual reality to the physical world. It's hard to actually, see that and sometimes they just don't think about it as well. And also be aware that there could be stalkerware that exists on some of the online app downloads, like on some of the Android devices. Now, and Apple is very good at making sure that they don't have a whole lot of those types of apps on there, and will actually, take them off when they're detected. But, there could be some stalkerware that exists on the Google Play Store, apps that monitor your device, and they could be used for malicious purposes. Parents should also know the signs, and those signs come in various forms such as acronyms and also emojis. It's very common for children in the online world to communicate via acronyms, which, I know I certainly, don't know all of the acronyms, would probably have to make a list. And also emojis. There's a lot of emojis out there that can be used in the context of sexual slang and things like that. But the websites on this particular slide here can give you more information on that as well. Parents should also be aware of the apps that are installed on children's devices. This particular slide here shows the 15 apps that parents should be aware of. Some of the most popular here are Grindr, which has been talked about in several articles out there. You can get more information by doing a search on that, WhatsApp, which is an encrypted messaging app. TikTok, everybody knows what TikTok is, and I'm sure you've all seen some of the very, very risque videos that exist out there with some children in them. But predators will use those apps too, and they will also be, in the comments too. They can also be out there under different profiles looking for children. Snapchat, which is the application where you take pictures, post it, and then it disappears. One of the most interesting apps, in my view, is the calculator percentage apps, which can actually hide photographs, videos, files, and browser history from the device, unless you know actually how to get into it. So that could potentially be a dangerous app with your children hiding various things on the device and other things like that. Hot or Not and other dating apps, predators hang out on them as well. Again, you never know who's behind the profile. So it's always a good idea to know what your children are doing on the devices and who they are actually communicating with. Some of the online resources that exist out there for parents, there's some good ones out there, a lot of good information out there for parents so they can keep up with the latest threats and what can be done to avoid them. Organizations such as Enough is Enough, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Family Online Safety Institute, NetSmarts, the DHS Blue Campaign, which has all kinds of information on the signs of human trafficking and some other information. The DHS Stop, Think, and Connect can give you some information on how to further secure your devices and some good information on that. The National Cybersecurity Alliance can also do the same thing. If you see something, say something. That's the big thing. If you suspect online child exploitation, if you're seeing some photographs on the internet that just are not good, in the form of child pornography, I mean, that's something that should be reported to the authorities. If you're suspecting some kind of trafficking or other abuse that's going on in your neighborhood, definitely talk to a law enforcement officer to see if they agree with that and to see if they think something should be done. If you suspect that a child is a victim of online child exploitation or some other illegal activities from predators, the first report would be local law enforcement. Cyberstalking can be reported to fightcyberstalking.org. Online child exploitation can be reported to missingkids.org. And the FBI has an internet crime center if you suspect some other types of crimes are happening as well and your child is involved as a victim. IC3.gov is where to go for that. Suspected human child trafficking can be reported to the DHS.gov Blue Campaign. Again, anyone interested in this presentation for their organization or a parents group can get this for free, so participants can ask questions and get more detailed information about some of these topics that we could not cover on this particular public presentation. HomeFront Cyber Support and Security offers free public presentations on this topic and other cybersecurity issues for home users, small businesses, as well as best practices. And you can contact them via phone, email. They have an online support portal at homefrontcyber.com/support. They offer on-site services. They can come to you or they can do all their work in-house. And they can discuss all those and the differences between those support services by you can just contact them. And there you have some of their contact information. So if you're interested in getting in touch with them about this presentation, questions on some of their other services, just give them a call there by phone, their email address there, and also their website as well. So definitely get in touch with them. And if you're a parent, be advised of some of those problems that do exist out there on the internet. On a personal note, I've had some say to me that this isn't as big of a problem as some make it out to be. It's just a conspiracy theory. And to those people, I say directly to you, every time you say that in a public forum, you disrespect all the victims of these evil crimes, and you also provide cover for all of these sick and evil acts to continue. I wish people, would not say things like that, and they would actually look into those things a little further. But now on the flip side of that, there are some wild stories and scenarios out there as well. And some of those stories may be true. Some of those stories may be not true. The fact is that these acts are not so often as dramatic as what is presented by some out there. The Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell case and the NVXIM cases, they may be an exception with some of the information that has been provided, which we won't go into here. But we'll let the victims and investigators handle that as they know much more than we do about what happened with all those other cases out there. But the point I'm trying to make is when we get outlandish in presenting this problem, we're also disrespecting the victims by presenting a false narrative about the problem, which begins to create a conspiracy theory environment and gives these evil people the opportunity to launch disinfo campaigns against those who are trying to bring awareness to this problem and trying to get more on board with putting an end to it. And then it gives the conspiracy theory accusers more reasons to think all of this is just that. So we must be very, very careful in how we present this issue to the public, anyone who's out there doing so. Sometimes it's best to let those who know much more about something to lead the way, and this may be one of those subjects. Someone who does know more about this issue than anyone is sex trafficking survivor Eliza Blue. She works to help survivors. She's very active on Twitter with speaking out on these subjects and other subjects related to it. She also has her own podcast, so definitely check that out. Just go to odyssey.com, do a search for @ElizaBlue. We thank everyone for watching this episode of the HomeFront Cybercast Broadcasting Mission Report. We hope we've had some information presented here that some people may not be aware of. We hope it was helpful to any parents who were looking for some information on the subject. But we've got some more Mission Report episodes coming up. I'm sure we'll focus on some other cybersecurity issues as time goes by. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But for this episode of the HomeFront Cybercast Mission Report, thanks again for watching.
The Mission Report is a presentation of HomeFront Cybercast Broadcasting, brought to you by HomeFront Cyber Support and Security. Tech support, security, and protection is their mission.